else does, it can awaken hope where there was previously only despair. It speaks to children in a language they understand. And when it comes to sport, we're all kids. Watch tomorrow. Watch the moms, watch the dads, watch the granddads. When it comes to sport, we're all just children. So sport is taught me many things, but mostly about humility and selflessness. I was born on the 2nd of January in 1967 into apartheid South Africa, where the basic human rights of ordinary South Africans were brutally violated. 27 years later, as the fortunate captain of the Springboks, I had the opportunity to meet the father of our democracy. It was a life-changing meeting. You know, growing up in South Africa, I grew up not in an independent school, I grew up in a public school. And sport was just as popular. You have to do athletics, and you know the difference between my jogging pace and my sprinting pace is a facial expression. That's it. Nothing else shows. So you do athletics, you play rugby, John, you look a bit better than me. Only just. You play rugby and you play cricket. And we grew up poor. My mom and my dad didn't have money to send me to university. And the way I grew up, children were seen and never heard. You were not allowed to sit around the table discussing things. I'm sad that I didn't stand up against that. Because on the weekend, you know, we have the barbecue, the television be on waiting for the Springboks to play, or the Proteas to play, or Bafana to play. And the boys would be playing rugby or cricket in the yard, and the folks would be around the brine. They would talk about two things, politics and sport. And when they spoke about politics, the name Nelson Mandela came up, followed by terrorist. Bad man. If this man comes out of jail, our country is in serious trouble. I'm not standing in front of you proud saying that. That's how I work. Never ask questions. All I wanted to do is go to university. I was lucky. I played Nuffield cricket, and I played ISRF Schools Rugby, and I got a scholarship to go and study law in Johannesburg at the University of Johannesburg. Here I met people that spoke English properly, people that had different views than I had, people that didn't believe. Incredible. I grew up in such a small world, all of a sudden, bang, they all open. And then there were rumors that Mr. Mandela was going to be released from prison. And in 1991, he walked out. I think that was sad prison. What was great in the sporting arena, again, the Springboks could compete on the international stage. They couldn't do that for many years. I luckily missed that first tour because the Eagle lost got me, I think. You know, Japan mixed that as well. And the next year, it was so important that the national team was announced on the 8 o'clock news. And I was sitting in my little flat in Johannesburg, and I saw the name scroll down, and I saw there was my name. Incredible. I was a Springbok. The phone started ringing. My mom crying. My son, I love you. You're so beautiful. You're so strong. You're so fast. I'm not fast, Mom. On the other phone, it's my brother asking for tickets for the game. And he wants to know if he can come to the party, and he wants kits. He wants a sweater. I became a Springbok. I became a Springbok captain in my first game. Fast forward, Mr. Mandela becomes president of South Africa. I don't know if you listened to his inauguration, his speech. Incredible. He promised that the time for the healing of wounds has come. The moment to bridge the chasms that divide us has come. The time to build is upon us. Incredible. A couple of months later, my phone rings, and I say, "I'm flat in Joburg," and it was Mary, his personal assistant. She introduced herself. She said, "Mr. Mandela would like to have tea with you." Wow. So it was going to be in the Union Building in Pretoria, and we arranged for time, and then I put the phone down. Incredible. Just imagine, you get a call, and the president of the country wants to see you. Why? You know, through my mind, why does he want to see me? What do I say? Do I have enough fancy words to use? And then I became a chick. What do I wear? What are my dress? I sat outside his office, and if I tell you that I was very nervous in Pretoria, very nervous. My palms were sweating. And I just heard his booming voice. Francois, he's here. And he came walking towards me. And Mr. Mandela was a boxer, eh? He also had more medallions. He was a boxer, big man. I stood up and I greeted him in English, and he greeted me in Afrikaans. Frans. Hulle Frans ook gaan. I kept on talking English and he spoke to me in Afrikaans. He took my hand. Can you imagine? I'm standing there, he takes my hand and he walks with me into his office. Hi guys, come in. Don't be stopped, come in, I'll wait for you. Then we welcome him. Take your time because the more you take them, the less I have to speak. So put yourself in my position. You're standing there, the president of the country takes your hand, and he walks with you into his office holding your hand. And for the next hour, we had the most incredible conversations about a lot of things, about the Olympic Games, about Robben Island, about apartheid, about a lot of stuff, and he just wanted to know a lot about me. I don't have a lot of time. Where are my guys from Northwood? Am I doing okay? Is that okay? Promise me if they do this, I'm okay. If they do that, I'm okay. Fast forward, the Rugby World Cup comes to South Africa in 1995, and yes, the Springboks would say that we were not favourites, and rightly so. We just came out of isolation. We never played international rugby with one another. The war here was in the provinces. If you played for Western Province, you hated the guys in Northern Transvaal and the Sharks. They hated the Lions and the Cheetahs and stuff. We had to learn how to play together first. And the opening game was against the favourites to win the World Cup, Australia. A lot of people forget this. Australia were the favourites to win the Rugby World Cup in 1995. They were undefeated in 12 months of test match rugby, and they were the reigning World Cup champions. And they had a rock star team. We played the perfect game. Yeah, News. And we beat them in hand scoring. A try, ask him, please. He's one of the greatest rugby players the world has ever seen. If you don't believe me, ask him, he'll tell you. So we played the perfect game. And we fast forward to the final. Maybe two things I'll tell you about the final. It's the build up to the final. Everybody was talking about the first global rugby superstar. This kid jumped onto the scene in 1995. John alone, 120 kilograms of crippling muscle, could run 100 meters on grass in rugby shoes in under 11 seconds. And I'm sure he's drooling. Incredible. When that guy started running a pace on the ball, nobody could stop him. And against South Africans, we were wondering, how can we stop this beast? How can we stop New Zealand? But they forgot they were 3-year-old the previous year in New Zealand. And we were now a team. So the morning of the game, I got the guys down in the foyer to go for a jog. Because normally before a big game, you know this, you know this, eh? Before a big game, you toss and turn, you don't sleep well, you're lying in bed, going, game time, man, game time. Can't wait for the house to eat itself up. So you spend a lot of nervous energy. I got the guys down to the foyer to go for a jog. I've never seen a bunch of just nervous rugby players. When we came down, everybody was so nervous, so tense. They played in the biggest game they would ever play in the whole night. Nobody said a word. Normally the guys would cheer one another. Nobody said a word. And we turned around the corner and just the other side of the running shoes on the road. And there were children's voices, and I looked around, and there were 4 little kids. They were selling newspapers on the street corners, 9, 10, 11 years old. 4 black kids. And they saw the team and they rushed after the team and they started running next to the team and they shouted the names of the players in that team. Can you imagine? They would have never known the names of the players. They would have never followed the Springboks. I got to my room and I started getting back. And I'm not superstitious, but that day I got superstitious. My jock strap was there, my gun got lost, I was lost and you start changing. You got crazy, man. Before I left, I read a piece that was given to me by Norman He stuck a piece of paper, our manager, under the door on the Thursday night. And I read it over and over again. And I read it for the last time before I left. It's a poem by Theodore Roosevelt. It's not the critic who counts. It's not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or how the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who's actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and by sweat and by blood, who tries valiantly and errs again and again because there is no effort without error or shortcomings, who knows great devotion and spends himself in a worthy cause, and in the end knows the highs of ultimate achievement. But if he loses whilst daring greatly, those in his place will not be with those cold and timid souls that do neither victory nor defeat. We got to the stadium. I was going through game plan, strategy, execution, getting strapped up, and there was a knock on the door. And the door opened. And he walked, Mr. Monday. And what was he wearing? Springbok. Incredible. He walked into that changing room and he stood there and he said, "Thank you for what you've done. You've made us proud." And he turned around and my number was on his back. Oh my word. I mean, it was incredibly emotional. I didn't sing the anthem that day and I learned that, and we've got a beautiful anthem. 5 languages, it's stunning. I didn't sing it that day because I was so proud and I knew I was going to cry, man. And you don't cry when you're going to be tough. I bit my lip so hard that it actually started bleeding, so I will not cry. I was so proud. And it's like, because if it wasn't for him, when that final whistle blew, our country would not have changed.